give us a few minutes more, and then we can just start, and we'll be recording this session and posting it on Facebook. How is everyone? You can unmute first. Okay, Siti, shall we start soon?
Can.
Afi, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I'm very sorry again for some of the difficulties or technical difficulties that we had just now. So we will go on with the show. Big hello to everyone. Ladies, I saw, it's not all ladies, right? There's some men with us. A good evening. Are you guys in your jammies with hot chocolate? Because it's 10 o'clock, almost 10, no, it's not, it's 10:30 now. Okay, so tonight, Siti, my partner Siti and I, we are happy to open this first session of Conversation of the Heart. Why Conversation of the Heart? Because heart is where the passion resides, and true purpose is born. So, you know, we all love empowered women. They fail, they rise up, they never give up. And we always hear stories from our mothers, sisters, friends who share stories of women in their lives. Everyday lives, simple yet extraordinary stories. So we get inspired, we share their challenges, and we champion their passions and support their purpose. This August, we'll be bringing several women who have achieved daily successes, and they'll be sharing with us some of the challenges that they face, and maybe give us some tips that they have achieved on some of the successes that they have. And for today, we are happy to have our first speaker, and we welcome you, 𝒽ℯ𝒶 Husaint. She is a creative and brand strategy director at a global content marketing agency. I've known her for a few years when she helped us with our branding development of a previous spa that I had. She helped with the branding efforts from brand identity, service offerings, website designs, and social media management. So thank you for joining us today, 𝒽ℯ, for opening your heart to us.
Thank you for having me today. 𝒽ℯ𝒶, let's begin from the very beginning, shall we? Can you share how were you like growing up? I think I'm still the same person, and yet a very different one at the same time. Only because as you grow, you learn and you want to be a better version of yourself. But those who have known me for a while know that I'm still the same driven person. In school, I must have been a chairman, a leader for my sports club. I was in a drama club. I was in a dance club. I was a librarian. I was in the computer club. I wanted to do everything. I was an overachiever, and I think that hasn't changed much. Growing up, I was very close to my grandmother and my aunts, who were very close. They're very strong women, and I would say that that has a lot to do with who I am today. They taught me to be independent, strong, confident at a very young age. In primary school, I had a lot of ideas for simple business, where I would buy wrapping paper and make it into a paperback, and I would sew them, and my grandma would help me. And in secondary school, I did a business plan to set up and run a cafe in a library. So see, I always go for what I want, and when I set up my mind to do something, I usually try and get it done. I remember in school, I was in the normal academic. I was in the normal academics, right? And they were sending a team that would compete for this to represent the school, but it was only open to the express students. Of course, that didn't stop me. I insisted to join the debate team. We won, and I was the best debater. That was nice.
Wow.
So what's your passion? I'm passionate about building brands, to see it grow, to see that you've helped to create that success, and to feel that satisfaction to see that brand has done well. Although I didn't go to school to study this, this was eventually something that became, after years of experience working on different projects over the years, I actually studied computer science. And my late father has always wanted me to have a career in the tech industry. So when I graduated, I was fortunate to receive a call from Microsoft. I probably had 3 interviews for a position. It was an internship that was converted to a full-time position. It was very exciting, right? My role was testing of Windows programming to ensure no bugs, issues, and to fix it. So one day, my boss wanted me to work on a web design. So it was an internal project, so I was really excited to work on it. And that's when I fell in love with design more. And at that point, I've already been helping my aunt with her business. It was a travel agency with her logo, design, collateral, website. So I was just laying around. And it was a great feeling to be able to see that work come and showed in real life, right? So I decided I left Microsoft after a year to pursue design. And that's when everything happens, right? I went to LaSalle, one of the top creative school in Singapore. It was not easy decision, and my father was not happy with it. He refused to pay for my school. So I had to figure out, okay, how I'm gonna do this. But it was fine. I wanted to go and do this. I went in, and the first assignment that I had was to design a Coca-Cola limited edition bottle. It was a nationwide competition, and all the schools had taken part with more than 500 participants. The winning design will be produced as a limited edition bottle. The brief was to design the bottle sleeve that would target the younger audience. It has a music theme. So I started working on it. I thought, what would make people want to drink Coca-Cola? So my inspiration was dance movement. Especially for that younger age group, I envision it to be some sort of dance move that would break into the crowd. So I visualized a break dancer on a bottle, and the break dance would move the crowd. But the problem was I still don't know how to use Photoshop and Illustrator because I just joined LaSalle, right? And I was able to skip the first year, so I don't have to complete all 3 years. Because I already had my study from computer science, so they let me skip the year. But I was determined. I did not let that stop me, so I designed using Microsoft Paint, obviously because I used to work in Microsoft, so I know how to use the paint. So I did the design, and it had 1 out of 500 designs. Which was I was so happy because when you shifted. You've already studied, you've already started working for a year. It was a really good company, organization, Microsoft. So, and to make that change, that shift to doing something that you're not sure if you're going to be good at it, right? So my late dad was so proud. He went to 7-Eleven and bought all the cartons, right? And after that day, it sort of changed my life.
I remember that Coca-Cola bottle, I think, but that was way before I knew you. I should have bought the bottle and say, hey, this is from my friend, the design.
That's very interesting, V. So, changing from like what you mentioned just now, from being in Microsoft, doing the techie stuff, and then shifting way out of line, going into creative. What were the challenges that you faced being in this industry? I think this industry is tough, but being a woman is not easy as well. And when I was starting out, I was given the opportunity to lead an integrated unit in a global advertising agency, Ogilvy. I was a young girl then. I was very ambitious, yet I have little. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have little experience then. One day I was in a meeting, it's probably about 10 of us, and our president then came to the room and said, who's 𝒽sஸa? And I was like, oh. I was scared, right? I thought I've done something wrong. He said, good, come and find me later. And then I was terrified, you know, but I went and I found him, and then he said, what did you do for the PR team? I was like, oh no, did I do something wrong? And I told him what I did, and he said, okay, they're gonna hire you and transfer you to their team. I'm not gonna let that happen. So instead, I'm gonna give you a team and let you lead this team within us. I was like, oh my God, okay, that's nice, right? It was really, I was so blessed, and I was just trying something. This is the, you know, the start of my career, and I was so happy to be given this opportunity, but it was so tough. Because, you know, everybody there who were managing teams was so senior. They had 20 years of experience, right? They have many years of experience, and that didn't stop me, right? Till today, my mom always asks why I'm so close to my late dad, because we argue all the time. But he was the one who always pushed me, challenged me. When I come to him with issues and problems, he always said, what can you do about it? Then do it, you know? While my mom would be, you know, sheltering me, like, it's difficult, don't do it, or quit, you know? I mean, I love my mom. I think she's such a lovely, soft person. And she doesn't want to see her kid sad, right? So I get that. So today when I'm faced with a challenge, I always think, what would my late dad do? Or what would he say to me? Okay. Is there any other questions? I mean, before we begin, everyone can actually just, you know, pop the question up on the chat, and then, you know, we'll review it later on. Yeah. Kaza, do you have any questions you want to ask, Fee? I was just wondering, Fee, what is the difference between, you know, brand and marketing? Is there any difference to it? It's integrated. So a brand is wider, right? Marketing is one aspect of a brand development. So whether it's a brand strategy that is talking about, so if, for example, we talk about a brand strategy, and marketing is actually one aspect of the brand strategy. So it is different in a way, but it can be integrated. So for example, if I were to create a brand strategy that include my marketing plan to be, you know, to target specific age group and specific things, so then that becomes, you know, marketing effort. But branding is about the tone of voice. It's about what is the message that you're trying to say. It's about positioning your brand, right? Branding is all about, yeah, I would say positioning. That's one of the way I would say it. How do you position your brand? How do you position what people think about your brand, right? At the end of the day, do you want your brand to be someone that people think about associated with happiness, or you know, whatever the objectives of the brands are, versus marketing, which is, it is actually marketing efforts to push what are your message, or what are your brand. So it is, you know, I guess that those are the two. Okay, thank you, Fee. Okay, next question. I think this one resonates very much with tonight's topic. Unapologetically me. So why does it resonate very much with you? I think, as you know from what I've shared in the last few minutes, I'm a very driven person. And when I set my mind to doing something, I don't apologize for achieving it. Everything that I've done till today made me into the person that I am now. So I guess that is why, you know, it sort of resonate very closely to me. So even, sorry, Kaza. Sister Zarina?
No, I just want to ask, what are the recent achievements that, apart from having the Coca-Cola bottle design, what are the other achievements that, you know, you feel that?
I've had recently, I think before I joined this recent company, I've had the opportunity to work with my, I was working with a Japanese brand called 𝒽ℎ𝒶, Babyface, and we created this web series where it was the next top model, but for babies. It was not easy because babies, you know, models, you can tell them what to do. Babies just cry all the time.
True.
We pulled it off. We won the best original content for Mobile Marketing Awards. I thought that was pretty cool. So if you, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Questions to ask me, because there's like so many questions to ask. If you could speak to your younger self, I mean, you're still young though, you know. If you could speak to your younger self, probably 17-year-old self, what would you tell her? I think three things, right? Breathe, listen, and filter. I think breathe is important because you need to pause, right? You need to take your time to evaluate things and to just calm yourself down a little bit. Because I think I was moving like at a speed of like, you know, it was just, I still do now, but sometimes it's important to breathe, you know, and just to calm a little bit. Listen is something that I learned in my 30s. In my 20s, I did not listen at all. I think people who know me would say that because I'm so focused and so driven that I thought if I listen to critiques, it might jeopardize my ambition, you know? And I decided to just shut down everything, and I did not listen. I just wanted to do what I needed to do, you know? Like just reach your goal. Yeah, exactly. Even if that critique might actually make you design something better, even if that critique might help you come up with a better solution, I did not want to even listen to it. I was just, you know, so my advice would be listen. Listen to critics, because critics are really good for you to become a better person. Of course, lastly, you need to filter, because sometimes the critics are just bad for you because they're just saying things that you truly know it's not true. So you need to learn to filter as well. But really, in my 30s, listening is super, super important. I think that's something that I am still trying to try and listen to everybody and try to listen to what advice or critiques, and hopefully that, you know, would make me be a better version of myself.
Fee, if I could ask, during those times when you said that you learned in between those times, who are your mentors or anybody that, you know, who
your inspiration?
Yeah.
I think for different phases of my life, there were different people that were my mentors at that time, especially people that I work with. I think till today, my mentors are different, right? Because usually it's the people that you work with day in, day out, the people that you sort of resonate with and talk to every day, and they understand you and you look up to them, right? So I would say several people that I've worked with, usually like the bosses, you know, those are the people that would, you know, usually be the one that would inspire you. So if you could rate your life from 1 to 10, 10 being most satisfied, what is your number? I would say I'm happy now. Overall, I'm very happy, right? At this point of my life. But if you talked about spiritually, how I am at the moment, I would say mid, maybe, because I've always been close to him. I talk to him every day. I need to sort of improve my connection with him, you know, God, you know, because I think it has been a challenge, right? When we talked about your life, you're very successful in you know, in right now, but then sometimes when it comes to like, oh, you have a situation, you have a problem, and that's when you usually think of him, oh my God, you know, like, but yeah, I think now I try to be closer to him as much as possible. So I in the past, and it's always very tough. You're so busy, and I know it's an excuse, right? That, you know, people make an effort to pray 5 times a day, and I always make an excuse, oh, I'm so busy, right? But now with the working from home, I guess it's so much better, because you can't make that excuse anymore because you're at home, you know. So just roll out and just and I think also I try to be close to him by reading the Quran a little bit. I think over the years I've stopped and I forgot how to read. Like it's embarrassing, I know, but you should never be shy about this. I think that's you can always learn. It's never too late to learn, right? Until you die. So I think that there was a session that you guys did, the Quran tagging class. So that was really useful for me, because it is really a group of people that who want to understand more about the Quran, right? So yeah, that was really good, and hopefully that would make me be closer. Yeah.
So, talking about the Quran, is there any specific prayer or a verse in the Quran that, you know, helps you to go through life given circumstances whereby, you know, you mentioned just now, sometimes in life you fall, and then that's the time where you really need him to be very close with you. So probably if you have any prayer that you recite most of the time.
I think Al-Fatiha is the one that I go to. It's always, it encompasses everything, right? And in the Quran, always before I start the day and at the end of the day. And whenever I have big presentations or issues or problems or whatever, right? That's sort of like calm you down a little bit, and you're like, okay, I can do this.
That's the reason why, you know, as a Muslim, Al-Fatiha is something which we recite almost 17 times a day, because, you know, 5 times of prayer. So each time you have to recite at least 3 or 4 times. So yeah. Any questions so far? Very quiet.
Yeah, any question for Fee before we continue?
We'll give them a moment to answer.
Tina, do you have any question? No, not yet. Sophie, you're always telling me that you work hard. You work like more than 24 hours a day. So when do you have time for yourself, your family? How do you break away from work? Because I always see you working.
I don't know.
I'm just curious, what is fee like minus work, minus career? What is fee?
That's a very good question. I think a lot of time, my life has, you know, really been about working.
Yeah, you're always talking to me about work.
I don't know. I mean, that's a very interesting question.
Like, are you seeing someone? I mean, come on, it's conversations of the heart, can.
No,
You know, any you know, plans in the future?
No, I mean, I think I do, you know, take a bit of time. So I go a lot of, you know, I take breaks in between, and then I do a staycation, or, I mean, now, of course, you can't travel, but I love to travel. So I travel quite a bit as well. That's fun because, you know, you get to see different cultures and different things, you know, explore the different countries. I really enjoy that. It's just now that we can't, staycation, I guess. Word.
Where's the best place you've been to?
I just went recently to Shangri-La, and Four Seasons on the weekends. So I sort of hopped. So Thursday, Friday, I was at Shangri-La, and then after that, Friday, Saturday, I went to Four Seasons.
Wow.
Nice break.
Okay, we got a question here. One of them were asking, is it all right to think about myself first before pleasing others?
Yes, definitely. A good example is when you're taking a plane, And you know, they always say that, okay, before helping the person beside you, please always put on your your oxygen.
Oxygen mask.
Always, right, before helping somebody else. Yep, you should always think about yourself first, you know, before helping somebody else. There's nothing wrong about caring for other people and thinking about them, but it's important to think about yourself as well.
Thank you. Okay, Dominic Lowe is asking how to stay resilient.
How to stay, sorry?
Dominic is asking how to stay resilient.
Right. That's a very good question as well. Actually, one of the way that has helped me stay sane is working out. For the last 1.5 years, I have sort of shifted and changed my lifestyle to somebody who's never really walked a lot and never exercised ever, you know, to somebody who's worked out to 2 to 3 times a week. And that actually helped you to become a bit more, you know, you're more energetic, you have a bit more endorphins, and you're more patient and tolerant, you know, against with other people around you. I guess it is important when you think about how athletes are always, I wouldn't say I'm an athlete, but you know how they always train, and that sort of make them become stronger. I think that it's applicable here, because your body, right, it's you need to work out so that you can release out all these frustrations, and you know, because you work so much, you just need a release, and I think that actually helped a lot.
Okay. Another question from, wait a minute. From Nuraini Saleh, how to not give up in pursuing your dream? That's a good question.
Yeah, because I understand that sometimes people, when they try something and they fail at the first time, they feel like they don't want to be a failure anymore, and so they stop, right? But you know, failing only means that you need to find another way to not fail, right? And to me, I feel like my fuel for me personally is when people say I cannot do it. That's when I will do it.
So you like to be challenged.
Yeah, yeah. Over the course of my life since school, right, from since secondary school. So I mentioned from the debate example, you know, when somebody said, oh, she cannot, she normal academic student, you know, she cannot join debate is only for extras. Okay, I will prove you that I will join, I'll be better, and then I'm, you know, I do that. I use that to drive me, to fuel me. You know, I think everybody need to find their own way to fuel themselves, but that is something that works for me.
Okay. Okay, last question. Importance of self-worth.
It's important, right? Because you need to feel that you are important. You need to love yourself, basically. I think that's very important, because sometimes people feel like they are not valued, right? They are not important. But don't think about don't think about other people valuing you. You need to value yourself, and you need to think about what you think of yourself, right? You need to love yourself. And when you love yourself, you will do whatever it takes to you know, go and drive at your passion, do what you want, and not let anybody say anything else, right? Because and that's why it's important to really love yourself.
Okay. Oh, we got one last question. I hope this is the last of the last. What have been your biggest mistake? Maybe you could share.
That's a very good question. I have a lot of big mistakes, actually. Mistakes, as I mentioned, are how I learn things, right? I think one of the biggest thing that I would say is managing people. I've made so many mistakes in the past about how I deal with people and how I manage people, and I felt if I could have redo it today, I would have done it differently. because I'm probably I'm a different person from, you know, who I was previously. Still the same, but it's just how you communicate and how you talk to people. It's very important, because sometimes I feel like I'm always being misunderstood, right? And I felt like that is also because other people can think what they want, but you need to think and feel that you are happy with the decision that you make, how you talk to people, how you communicate. As long as you have a clear conscience and you are doing the best that you can to communicate and be nice and have empathy and understand, then, you know, it's not, you know, whatever you cannot control what other people think of you. That's it, right? But I think that is one of the biggest one, is how I manage people in my 20s, you know, versus how I manage people now. I try to have a lot more empathy, or I am still trying, right? It can be very challenging sometimes. But yeah, I think that was one of the biggest ones.
There is a question from the chat here from QR. What are you grateful for?
Oh, that's nice. I'm grateful to have a job that I love, especially now in this situation where people are losing jobs. I have a job, you know, that I love to, and I'm happy to have be alive, I guess, you know. That's also one thing. But I think right now I'm really glad that, of course, there's a lot of problems and there's a lot of, you know, situations where you think about, oh, why is this happening to you? But if you think about what is all the good things, I feel like I am blessed right now, because the people around me, you know, they try to understand me, and they become you know, a good friends and good colleagues, and so I'm happy that you know, these people are in my life.
Okay.
Fee, I also want to ask you something, because I know that you do not have a social media account of any kind. Which this you have to share with us, because you're doing branding and you know, doing social media branding. So why don't you have a social media account?
It's really conversations from the heart, right?
Yes.
I closed my social media account in January. So I think in December last year I closed it. So I don't have any accounts. I think it was how I look at myself as a person when I have the page. I think about the first thing I wake up, I pick up my phone and I look at my Instagram and I see how many people is liking my my posts and commenting and stuff like that. And I didn't like what I have what I've become. You know, this person who is so worried about what other people say about, you know, about myself. Because I've created maybe a persona on social, and I am here, I am this person. And so I just didn't like that. I didn't like that I was, you know, this person which people are thinking or saying, and I just felt like I wanted to be myself, you know, and I didn't want it. I didn't want to have that pressure or that that stress as well, right? Because I would say I am quite a vain person, to be honest, and social media doesn't help because.
So it's your way of curbing yourself against.
Yeah, I think I should think about what I think about myself. You know, I should not worry so much about
Others perceive of you.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to understand what people are saying about you. If it's something that you can improve on yourself, sure, you know. But yeah, I just came to a point where I felt I didn't need it. It was something that it was by choice, and I'm happy. Now it's been 8 months, right? Without social. I mean, I still manage social media accounts and projects. I just don't have it for myself.
Okay, where did you sorry?
No, go ahead. Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you think of creating a 5-year life plan? Two questions. First is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Second is, what do you think of about creating a 5-year life plan?
Wow, is this a job interview? Wow.
Still conversation of the heart.
Okay, so to be honest, I am 37. I hope to be married. I'm not. I hope to have kids. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I would love in 5 years if that happened. To be honest, because my sister got married 2 years ago. My brother is getting married in October, and I'm the last one, and I'm the oldest, right? And I'm like, okay, so family is important. But yeah, I just haven't found it, you know. So I would love to have a family.
Bachelors, click on the link below.
Oh, so this.
The 5 C's. Hopefully, the 5 C's.
Oh my God.
Okay, since we are at that topic, someone is asking you, what is your ideal man like? Ooh.
Wow. Someone who's kind, someone who's clever, but clever and kind, right? Because you know sometimes when you're clever, but you can be sarcastic and you can be not kind. You know, it's opposite. So clever and kind, I think that's all.
Very humble, very humble.
Oh, it's because I used to have a long list of criteria, but then I'm 37, so I don't think so. I have a long so just these two, okay? If you are kind and clever, okay.
Okay. Okay, this is a spiritual question, if you don't mind. You mentioned earlier about Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening. You have faith in that surah. So being successful yourself, when is enough for you? As in, because the last verse mentions about going back to the right path, right? So do you see yourself coming back spiritually?
I mean, yes, because especially when you're getting older and you're getting to feel like maybe you know you might be ending soon, right? You feel, of course, you need to, right, at this moment. Whether when is enough in terms of the success, I feel like there's always room to grow, right? I am that type of person that I feel like you don't you learn every day. Every day is a learning. Every day is a new thing for you to learn, right? It's not like you have achieved everything, you've learned everything, you know everything. I don't think so one person can know everything or can learn everything. So to me, success or when is enough is, I don't know, I think when you get to a point where you are able to maybe teach or maybe impart the skill to somebody else, maybe. I think in my 20s, it's all about me. I think in my 30s, a little bit. But now I feel like it's about imparting, you know, that skill, whatever you've learned, to the next generation, maybe to the next, you know, people, and see how they can succeed with your advice and your knowledge. I think that would be good. But yeah, I think in terms of spiritually, I think about nowish time, right? Because you're 37, you don't know when. But yeah.
I guess that's the reason why when you talk about learning, that's basically the reason why Sister Zarina and myself, we sort of talked about how do we learn at the same time impart the knowledge or share the knowledge with as many people as possible, and that's how Empowered Women Network come about.
Yeah.
So it's all about learning. It's all about being balanced. I guess my idea of empowerment or to empower is all about balance. Because as a woman myself, I think balance is something that is very difficult to achieve, and it takes many days and months and years for you to perfect it, but still, you know, you can be perfect. You can tell yourself, okay, I'm balanced today, but then tomorrow, zap, you know, or any other minute, once you feel that you lose balance, everything shuts. You can't function. The entire day you cannot function. So
I think we talked about this before also with Fee regarding the balance, right, Siti? Yeah, and you were saying something interesting about balance, like it's not really a balance. If you can explain that again.
Yeah, because you know people always say work-life balance. I don't think so. It's work-life balance. I think it's about integration, right? It's about how you can live a more integrated life with family, friends, spiritual, and everything, right? Because it's not like, okay, morning is work, afternoon is evening is, you know, family time, kids time, and all that. I mean, it's easy to do that on paper, but in reality, it has to be integrated with your life, right? It's how you can make it work, basically.
It's true. Yeah, because especially now when you work from home, like, you know, you go to work and then you come back, you can actually leave work behind and then do whatever you want for your me time, you know. Like now, because everything is in one place. Yeah, so you feel that integration.
yeah, true.
Definitely.
It's true. I think I feel that way too, since now with what's happening, you know, like I always talk about balance. Even with Siti, I always say that, you know, how we can balance this, you know, like I mean, we are doing this too much, and then now I want to do this, but you know, you want to spend time with your family, your children, and then you want to have a me time with your friends, with yourself, or have a time with your friends. So we are always talking about balance. So if you can, like you say, integrate them together, right? Yeah, maybe this is something different, something we should all try. We have another question. How to build self-esteem as women at work?
Okay. You know, a lot of people always ask me, I don't think so you will have this problem because you seem very confident. They always say that when I say, oh, I have a board meeting, or when I'm presenting to global, when I'm talking to a large group of people, people always say, it shouldn't be a problem for you because you're such... That is not true. Honestly, I mean, yeah, sure, I can talk, but it's just that when you're in front of a group of people, you feel nervous. You feel that, oh no, what if I'm gonna say the wrong thing, and you know, and you just feel stressed, and then you say the wrong things and stuff like that. And I think everybody has different ways to do it, but for me, this is the method that I always use. I will pick up my essential oils. I always do this.
I was just going to ask you.
I do this with my team before meetings and stuff like that. You know, whatever essential oils that would help you calm yourself down. I always use white angelica for positive energy, and I use belief to have a bit of confidence and courage. And then, of course, when you start talking, you have to prepare for your meeting. Be as prepared as possible, right? Because if you're not prepared, then it's, you know, when people ask you a question and you'll be like, oh, okay, how? But if you're prepared, know your material, right? Know what is it that you want to say, so that when anybody asks you anything, you know how to answer. But also, most importantly, think about this. Whatever you're saying is your point of view, unless it's like stats or, you know, data and stuff like that. Whatever opinion you give is your opinion. So don't worry so much about what other people is going to say, because it's your point of view, your opinion, right? So when you're speaking, think from that point of view, because there's no right or wrong. And so that hopefully would give you a bit of courage and confidence that what you know might be different from what other people know. And they just want to hear what you have to say. And
Yep, interesting.
Okay, I got one question here. Work-life balance, is this something you believe in?
it's something I will what?
Believe it.
Believe in work-life balance. I think I covered this, right? It's more...
Yeah. But I think they asked whether you believe in it.
Or whether I believe in work-life balance.
Like perhaps for some people,
working from home, right? I tend to feel like I'm doing more
Yeah.
than ever, so sometimes you just cannot stop yourself from working. It's 9 to 5, and then you ended up doing it up to 10 or 11 sometimes.
Me
So,
too. I know this is tough. I struggle with this as well, but I try to make a plan. I plan every day. There's so many things to do, but for me, I in the morning I wake up, I'll have like 10 things to do, right? But just choose three. I always choose three things that I'm gonna do today, right? Everything else can be later, push it, or whatever. So you don't feel like, oh my God, there's just so many things, right? But write it down, have a list, and choose three things important, priority, right? Prioritize those, and then I do those, and then yeah, I feel like when I achieve them and I have a tick, I have my scribble. I'll be like, yes, I've done this. Yes, yes. You feel okay. You have achieved something, right? Sometimes, and I think people who know me know that I'm very critical of myself more than others, because I feel like there's so much more you can accomplish or so much that you can do, but you are a human being. Be kind to yourself, love yourself, and just have a bit of know that you have done it. You have done three things that you're supposed to do. That's good. And then move to the next.
and it's just a shock feeling when you just strike it out, right? I do that all the time. Like, oh, contentment.
Cool.
Okay, what are the challenges you face as a female leader when you lead a team of men and women? Do you feel that you struggle in leading people? And how do you balance being people-oriented in tasks?
So the question is, how do I manage?
There's three questions to it. So the first one is, what are the challenges you face as a female leader when you have to lead a team of, both men and women? That's the first question.
So I think it doesn't matter if it's men or women, right? When you're a leader, you're just supposed to manage them. I mean, maybe based on personality and all that, you can adjust. But I think the challenge is always been, for me, communication. Sometimes, as a leader, you make a lot of mistakes because sometimes you think you have the best intention, but other people misunderstood you and take it wrongly, and they get upset. And it is a challenge, because especially when you're managing different groups, or different teams, right? And that can be very exhausting as well, because you're trying to then resolve those issues. It's not even work yet. This is just talking. This is just like, it's not even about the work. It's about, oh, this person is upset because you say this. But you may not meant it as a bad thing, or you may not, you're just saying it because of things you have a good intention. So that's very challenging, because you want to work with a team and you want people to be happy. At the end of the day, you want your team to be happy, right? Because then when they're happy, they do good work, they want to support you. Weekends, whatever, late night, they'll do the work for you because they like their job, they're happy with their job, right? And they respect you and they want to do things for you. But yeah, this is very tough for me. I think this is something that I am still learning. I'm continuing to learn. This is one area that I am, previously I really don't like it. In fact, previously I always said, no, I don't need other people, I'll just do it myself. It doesn't work. Okay, if you want to grow as a person, you need to teach other people how to do the things. They will then be able to help you, right? So that's super important. Now I try to take time to explain why I make the decisions. I try to explain how I derive to that. When they understand, hopefully they understand you, and hopefully they try to then be able to think like you, or at least look out for things that you would think about. And yeah, I think really in my 30s now more than ever, I have sort of shifted my perception of when we talk about work and doing good work, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the work. And if the team can do it together, right, that's the success, right? And it's super important. I think the challenge is communication. For sure, it is always about communication, people, and I try to improve on that.
So that is the ultimate struggle that you always face, communicating with people, regardless whether they're men or women, it's all the same. Okay.
Fee, do you see yourself leading a company in the future?
Oh, wow. Okay, so I think that I do not want to, but maybe other people might want me to or lead me towards that. Maybe, right? I feel like maybe as a person, it's not easy to lead a company because there's so much, so many challenges, right? And as I mentioned, people. So I don't know if I want to lead a company, but yeah, if that happens to me and that opportunity was given to me, I would rise up to the challenge. I think I would try.
You will take up the challenge for sure, I think. For sure, knowing you. Okay, any more questions?
No more questions on my side.
No? Sophie, any advice for those who
Aspire to be just like you.
yeah, like a woman leader?
When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Oh, cool. Find time for yourself. That's yeah, I would find time for yourself so that you can not at 37 and then you can be really successful at things, but you don't have a family. I think that's super important. I see a lot of my friends, they have family, they have kids, and they see me as such a successful person, right? But I don't know. I don't have a family yet.
We will all pray for you.
Thank
That you will get your ideal man who is kind and
Clever.
and smart.
Nice and smart. Fee, there's one question with regards to branding. If this question is by a person who just set up a business, it's a sole proprietor, and she wants to brand her. She's asking whether should she brand herself or the product.
Okay. Interesting. I think it can depends on what is the objective. Is she going to be using herself on all the products? A very good example is like Nalofa, right? She on her own is a brand, right? So then she brand herself everywhere that she goes. Versus if you have a company name, you have a team, you have all these different things, and you don't want to position yourself as the face, right? Then of course you don't push yourself, right? You do it the other way, which is the products itself. But if you feel like this is a brand that you and the brand is going to be the same thing, it's going to be one, then yes, for sure that you should push yourself, use yourself to promote the products.
Okay, so the question is also another question is from the same person. So if she were to brand herself, what is the best brand? She is actually selling tudung.
Right.
So okay, like you mentioned, Nilofa is also selling tudung, but she's also selling other things. And she created her own tudung, and she wants to, if you say brand herself, how should she start? Like she should be wearing it and she should be pushing herself, or should she just be behind the scene and the product sell itself because the product name is after her name?
No, I mean, definitely, if she's gonna push herself, if she's gonna, say that this product is is associated to her, then she should not be behind the scenes because this is her promoting herself, right? So she should be out there taking lots of photos with it. All her ads should be her face, accompanied with other people. I think it's important that if you already decide that you are going to be the face of the brand because of the name of the brand itself, then you should go ahead and we need to go all out to promote yourself. Because if you don't, then it's a waste as well, right? Because then people don't know, okay, who is what is this brand? Who does this brand belong to?
Okay, and the next question is, can you be my mentor?
Sure.
Fee is very expensive.
Get ready.
What's your fee like? Fee, what's your fee like? Oh.
I'm happy to. I'm actually doing a mentorship program for Unilever in September for a group of students under Unilever.
Oh, can you talk about that?
I don't
How
have.
does that work? How does that work?
They just asked me actually a few days ago.
As a volunteer or?
Yes, so
like
it's
okay.
I think 4 or 5 mentors, and they then pair the mentors with a group of students, and then they have a session in September with different topics for different Unilever brands, and then they hope the mentor can actually help to the students to develop, what is the objective, what is the proposal, the idea that they need to get or answer the brief. I don't have much details yet because they just asked me a few days ago.
I see. That's interesting. That means do you see yourself being a social enterprise? Moving towards social enterprise as well.
I don't think I've thought of that yet at the moment.
But it depends on the company, though. Yeah, social enterprise is the company itself, right? Okay. So, any more questions?
We actually have a few requests from the circle in our circle, who are business owners themselves, home based. They run like the sole proprietor partnership and so on and so forth. So they are very keen in getting you in to educate and to impart the knowledge that you have on branding. So that is something which we are very much excited to work with you. That will be a collaboration between Empowered Women and FILA. So stay tuned if you guys are interested in that session itself.
Okay. Any more questions? If not, Fee, do you have anything to say?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been I think 1 hour and a half. One and a half hour. It was a nice conversation of the heart. You guys really dig out. I mean, like, oh no. Some of the questions I haven't really thought of. So thank you for asking.
Okay.
We are happy to have you and hope to work with you. And thank you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't expect men to be on board, but hey, it's okay. Welcome. Okay, see you again. We have another session next Friday. Another lady will be sharing with us. We will keep it a secret, and then we will post it in our IG page.
I'm sorry about the technical glitches.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the technical glitch.
Bye.
Okay, have a good night.
Good night. Happy weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.